There we go. Okay, cool. So I want to talk a little bit more than just what's on that first bullet, but obviously I think it's important to set the, well, first off, let me start over. Okay, so we are supporting tutoring at the PDC, at the Pitches Detention Center. And so as you guys are all aware that we're offering credit and non-credit classes over there. And one of the initiatives was to go ahead and get some student support, extend the services that we offer through mostly as supervision and direction, kind of get those out to that community, support those students. And so what I'm going to talk about a little bit here is kind of the results. It only started recently back in late fall semester. So right around, right before Thanksgiving, we finally got in there, and I'll kind of retract a little bit. But so far between fall and spring, we've been able to tutor in English 101, 103, Geography 101, Math 100, Comms 120, History 111, and Psychology 101. And so far, it's been quite successful. And all of that I'm going to give credit is to Amanda Capra, who is our tutor. Some of you might know Amanda. She used to work in outreach, I believe, and she was your student. You gave her rec to be an English tutor. Yeah. And so it's interesting how stars align because Amanda is a psychology major. She loves data, which I can share with you data folks here later. And also it's interesting because her goal is to become a licensed social worker, and she specifically wants to work with the incarcerated population. So this was like literally like a match made in heaven. I'm like, who are we gonna find that's gonna want to like go to PDC and really, you know, put their heart into it, because you really got to connect that student base, and you got to really want to be there to maximize those results. And so everything kind of aligned up. And so I just kind of want to brag about her accomplishments, what she's been able to do. A lot of it is backed by data report that she provided. So if anyone wants to see a copy of it, it's about 14 pages. I asked her to keep it brief, but I guess this is what data folks do, right? She had charts, she had studies, she did surveys. She went above and beyond. It's pretty amazing. And so aside from her offering the standard tutoring for the classes up there, she had this great idea based on student feedback. Because one thing she had heard in her short time there in the fall was that the students really were kind of bummed that they can't continue their education during the intersession. So she thought, okay, well, let me see what I can do to kind of have something as a connected bridge that gives them some sort of education that can be applicable for them in their studies. And once they get rehabilitated and come back in society, some skills that really are going to help accelerate their life, you know, being back in the community. And so what she did was she began, before she started her lesson planning, she actually polled the students that are enrolled on what life skills they would kind of need the most, what they would consider to be most helpful. And so she ended up writing the curriculum and executing the curriculum for 6 different workshops. One of them was the resume writing, 14 people attended, mock interviews, 20 people attended, financial literacy, 22 people came to that, community resources workshop, 21, career development, 19, and learning workshop, which went over memory retention and learning styles. And then nicely, she closed it up by transitioning into how to apply those skills in English 103, because that's one of the classes that a lot of students are taking this semester in the spring. And those seem to me pretty big numbers. I mean, gosh, I've been to our workshops and flex events that have less attendance than that. So the students obviously wanted to go. And as I kind of mentioned, Amanda actually kind of surveyed some of the students who attended. And again, if you want the full report out, it's here. I'll kind of try not to butcher the data language too bad. If you guys can correct me if I'm speaking, but basically, Amanda administered a survey about the effects of attending workshops on levels of confidence and hope. A paired sample t-test was conducted to compare feelings of confidence and hopefulness of participants before and after the workshop. Did I say that right? Did that make sense?
Can you translate that, dude?
Yeah. What is that?
I don't know what that means.
So they compared their average scores on these skills of confidence level before, and then they compared them to their own scores. So it's like we're not comparing to different groups, but the same person's score.
So that means it's good data, right? Okay. All right, got it. That's what I thought. So 66% of the students report that their levels of confidence and hope had increased greatly after participation, while 26% reported a slight increase in confidence and hope, and 6% reported it's the same. However, 100% of the students indicated that they would attend future workshops. So I think it's safe to say that it was quite helpful, and we probably should be doing these in the future. Because they are really going to facilitate a positive community change at a larger level. For example, so the community resources workshop I thought was really critical. It was all about what they can access at COC once they're COC students, which is like, you know, the bank and counseling, TLC, everything that they have. Because think about it, if you've never been to campus, never been a student here, you're not going to know all these sort of things. Obviously, financial literacy is huge, career development. So it seemed to have pretty good results. And just some more qualitative data. Amanda also mentioned that one student in particular mentioned that his exam scores increased 30% after the sessions that he had with her. So there's some qualitative data to go with the quantitative. And she also wanted to say that a lot of students said that the chance to get tutoring to understand these difficult concepts actually gave them confidence and made them more motivated to want to go to school again and not seem so overwhelmed and so daunting of a task. And lastly, she'd like to share that she felt like she developed a very strong rapport with the students, and she thinks that's a huge component of this being successful, is that they need to feel comfortable and supported in a safe learning environment that will kind of encourage them to go to the next steps beyond COC. And based on that, I know it's very limited, it's just a small sample. I feel like this is going to grow and go to big ways as long as we keep doing what we're doing. And yeah, so more to come. We'll let you know how it goes next year.
Thank you for sharing that. And thank you to Amanda. I know Amanda's not here, but thank you. That's amazing.
I have one question, Fred.
Oh, of course.
You said that the students aren't allowed to or don't take classes in the intersessions. Is there a reason they don't take them?
I don't want to put my foot in my mouth. I just believe that the courses for credit aren't offered, and maybe Diane can jump in. I think they offer non-credit courses in the intersessions, but for credit, and I don't want to speak for those reasons that you could be speculating. Yes. Yeah. Sounds like you're volunteering to go there for winter, so.
No,
I think
Diana,
Diana, she might be able to respond. Diana, if you want to.
Yeah, well, normally we offer during fall, spring, and summer. Winter is kind of one of those weird short ones where it's too many hours to try to fit it in the short time that we can do it, especially with the closure of campus. So we've kind of stayed away from it on the credit side. We do have non-credit offerings that are pretty much all but, I think, 3 weeks of the year where there's non-credit courses continuously going on in the jails.
thank you.
And just a big thank you to Diane too for supporting tutoring getting placed in there. I know she's got a lot on her plate and there's so many moving pieces. Having gone to PDC for the tour, interacting with the team over there, I know there's a lot of moving pieces. So thank you, Diane, for being so supportive of TLC and Amanda. Thank you.
No, I appreciate you guys. This is something we've wanted in there for such a long time, and to have you guys in there has been just amazing. Everybody's been excited and happy, and I haven't heard anything but great things coming out of there.
Thanks, everybody. Should we move on to the other TLC stuff, or is there more? Do we have more discussion for justice impacted students?
That's it. Thank you.
Cool. All right. The other really short updates I wanted to make sure we had was on embedded tutoring. And that's where we embed a tutor into faculty classrooms. And that could be either online or face-to-face classes. Usually the tutor attends class once a week. So they can really get to know the class, they get to know the students, the instructors, the assignments, and can provide additional customized support for the students in that class. As I mentioned, embedded tutoring is really highly customizable. So we were trying to make sure that the needs of the instructors and the students are being met. And so the tutors and the instructor will work together to figure out the best way to help support that class. The kinds of things tutors can do is provide feedback, but not grades to students. So they can give feedback to help students do better in the future, or feedback on drafts as they're preparing for a final draft, but tutors don't do grading. They can also hold workshops or study jams or office hours at TLC, so students can come in and meet with them for their particular class. For embedded tutoring, both the faculty and the tutors get training. So faculty have a 1-hour training on best practices, and then tutors get training each semester on tutoring practices. We've also done a training on maintaining boundaries because our tutors are students and the students are students. And that can be kind of a tricky area to navigate. So we want to make sure the tutors know how to maintain boundaries with the students they're assisting. And then they all have training on FERPA regulations because in almost every embedded class, tutors are looking at student work. So we want to make sure the student's privacy is being honored. The faculty can also provide individualized training and mentorship to tutors to help them for their particular class. And then this semester, there are 23 different sections of English classes that are being supported by our embedded tutors, including my own classes. I really love having the embedded tutor in my class. I've had the same one for the last 3 semesters. As you can imagine, faculty get very attached to their embedded tutor. And it's been just a really big pleasure and honor to be able to work with mine. And I've heard really good feedback from other faculty members and tutors about the working relationships they've developed. And then the last thing I wanted to give just the quickest of updates on our workshops. We have held workshops at TLC for as long as I've worked there and longer. But this semester we've really kind of ramped up the number of workshops we offer and the different formats that we're offering them in, because we're trying really hard to meet the needs of the students, kind of no matter where they are and how much time they have available. So we tend to offer about 10 to 15 workshops per week. Those are online or at Valencia or at Canyon Country. There's always like an assortment every week. So we're making sure to have the workshops where students are. There are also a variety of formats and lengths. So some of the workshops, especially the really long ones, sometimes you'll see there's like a 2-hour block. Those are drop-in most of the time, so that students could come in anytime within that 2 hours rather than having to set aside 2 hours to get the workshop done. And then sometimes the workshops are more formal, where the students are kind of expected to be there for the entire experience. But we have workshops that run anywhere from half an hour to 2 hours at this point. We have various topics in terms of reading, writing, and study skills. We also have a communications tutor who is now also communications adjunct faculty, Taya Lemke, who is a real go-getter and has provided a very thorough calendar of workshops for comm students. And then we do specialty topics. So you might see workshops on pop culture. We offered workshops on Taylor Swift last month before the break, for example, that are always connected to academic skills. So it was analyzing Taylor Swift lyrics and building an argument. And then we offer creative writing workshops as well. So really we have a ton of things that are available. We would love to see more students. Right now, they are not quite as well attended as we would hope they would be. And I know that's really challenging because you get a huge list from me every week of everything that's available. But please do send them down or ask me questions about them. We also talked a little bit about collaborating at the last IE squared meeting. So if there's something you want that we don't have, let me know and I'll work on it. I'm always very happy to collaborate with folks about workshops or anything else at TLC.